All right, moving on to our next hot topic. Jaleel White, actor that plays Steve Urkel, revealed the reason why he turned down the Family Matters reboot. So he's turned it down. Everybody's been asking for a Family Matters reboot. I think it will be legendary and classic. Everybody is still here. Everybody is coherent. Everybody's acting. Um, but he turned it down because he felt like it would be a better story on telling his story. And his story was about a young kid that got into acting, stumbled upon this show, and the show takes off, but the show takes off because of him. It wasn't the fact, like, because remember when they did Family Matters, the star of the show was supposed to be the mother and Carl Winslow, because Carl Winslow's character was based off of what's the movie Die Hard, and then the mother's character was based on Perfect Strangers, the hit TV show. So now when they do, the show was a good show, but now when they bring in this character that now it turned everything all the way up to a whole nother level, he feels like there's a better story on telling that story opposed to continuing the same story of Family Matters. What do you think about that?
No, I think he's right, because the climate of how this whole Diddley thing is going on, you know what I'm saying, it'd be very intriguing to see what was going on behind the scenes with that scenario. Because you gotta understand, these actors that were playing the mother and the father role, they've been acting for years. So they must have tried. I don't care how professional you are, you can't now come into a situation where your paycheck is now stringent upon this young kid.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you as a seasoned actor, your pride and ego ain't gonna take it so well. So they probably might have been unjustly fair to the kid behind scenes. They probably might have did fucked up shit to the kid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So rather relive that shit, talk a different story. He
Mm.
don't want to play Steve Urkel no more, because he's gonna have to relive all those traumas again, whatever they may be. Because you gotta really look at it. Yes, that's true. This kid comes in and takes this show by storm, and overnight he's a sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And then for him to be able to try to um accept all that new responsibility of being a huge TV star, you know what I'm saying? On top of the fact your coworkers probably making your workspace hard, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You understand, this is a job.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're on TV and it look good, no, you got, this is a 9 to 5, and they don't get paid 9 to 5. But
Right.
your life is dependent on your job and how well you perform. So if you constantly coming to work and there's always some issue because somebody feels some type of way because you taking they shine, but that's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta check their ego at the door. But you know what I'm saying? We all human at the end of the day. So I feel them. I don't think you would want to tell this story. I think it's a different story that we need to be told. There's a whole lot of shit that needs to be told out here. And like, we not with the foo-foo no more. Like, tell the other story. Tell the other side. You know what I'm saying? Why ain't that girl never came down the stairs no more? What happened to the little girl from Family? Why she ain't never come down the stairs?
They said it was because of Jaleel White. They said Jaleel White basically got rid of her.
That's what they saying, but that don't even make no sense. How a little kid gonna tell all these people, these handlers, what to do?
I'm saying, but that's what they're saying.
That's what they spin in the story. You can't tell me a little kid coming in here, he firing adults. You can't tell me that, man. Now when you got, if that's the case, then how they let the director of Nickelodeon play with all them kids? If the kids got the power.
Mm.
Right? If the kids got the power, then wouldn't they say, yo, this person such and such is doing things I'm not approving of, and they'll get rid of him. So that goes to show you they ain't got no damn power. They just spinning the story that say he the one that did that. How he gonna be the one doing that? He just happy that he got the opportunity. So I'd love to see something different.
Well, this is something I've heard. Well, it's two people that said this, right? Well, three. there's Orlando Brown. You know, he says a lot of outlandish statements, but there's also the character that played Judy, Jamie Foxworth. She
Hmm.
said that there was like a real strained relationship between her and Jaleel White on set, and so those are two out of the three people, and then the third was one of the producers. They did like a behind the scenes of Family Matters, and he wasn't a producer. He was one of the writers, and he was basically taking credit for Family Matters, saying like, yeah, so I wrote these characters, and it came to life because how I wrote it. Like you should have seen like when I first thought of Steve Urkel. Like in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, he gonna have classes." Like he was talking like
Hmm.
he,
Talking a big, you know what I'm saying? Talking a big game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, like he threw the sauce in the joint, like, and it's like, yo, your pin game was not that litty, my man. So I just want to be fair based on what they said, and they trying to spin it a certain way, but then they also had um a reunion with everyone except for Jamie Foxworth, which is the girl that played Judy. She was the only person that wasn't present, and nobody would say or speak on why she wasn't present. So,
Again, so it's a lot of other stories y'all could tell. We don't want the continuation. It's like tell something else.
mhm.
And I'm with him on that. Tell something else, like for real.
Well, the kid in me wants the nostalgia. I'm not gonna lie. The kid in me wants the continuing story to see, how him and Laura marriage has progressed and the rest of the family. Even if it's just for a season, I would have been interested in seeing that. I'm glad that they actually gave them the opportunity to want to do that show because, quite frankly, that show was bigger than Full House to me. Even though Full House was a great show, it was a big show, but Family Matters was upper echelon, type tier on a whole nother level for me personally. So I would have loved to see the continuation. I'm not going to act like if they didn't have the show that I wouldn't have watched. Because if they would have continued it, or if they would have rebooted, I would definitely be sitting in on first day like, what's happening in this episode. So me personally, I would have loved to seen that. Based on what he's saying, I will want to see a visual of what he's talking about on what they're going to talk about more in depth. What he spoke on, it'll sound interesting, but it just sounds more so that he just doesn't want to play Steve Urkel. That's just all it sounds like to me. That he has no interest in playing Steve Urkel. He's been Steve Urkel all his life. People see him as Steve Urkel all his life throughout. Because you gotta remember, those like Family Matters was late '80s, probably like late '90s, almost like 10 years. And then when you have the rewatch, the reruns, those reruns live on forever. So people are always going to see him as that. And I get it, but I ain't gonna front. The kid in me would love to see a reboot, but he that's the reason why he turned it down. All right, moving on to our next